Hi, everyone. Today we will read Abel and his sister's doll and review the lesson plan. My students today are Sally and Jane Ran. Thank you for joining. And at this time, please make sure the subtitles are turned on if you need help to follow along with the video. And remember, you can also slow down the video speed or pause the video and go back. The themes in this story are family conflict, restitution, and forgiveness. The story addresses social emotional concepts of empathy, respecting others, and regulating our emotions. So before we begin the story, we will review some vocabulary words. I will say the word and then you will repeat after me. Are you ready? Okay. Mother.
Mother,
Brother.
brother,
Sister.
sister,
Doctor.
doctor,
Doll.
doll,
Idea.
idea,
Good. So for this bridge activity, remember for the bridge activity on the other side of this imaginary bridge is the beginning of our story. But before we cross the bridge, we will do a short activity to get excited about the story. So we will do a pair share activity. And with your partner, you will take turns answering these questions. How does it feel when someone breaks or takes something you own? What do you do if someone breaks or takes something you own? How can you forgive that person? And what could they do to help you forgive them? So we're going to take 5 minutes to discuss with your partner, and then we will share some answers with the whole class. So I will turn off my camera and mute myself now so you can talk with your partner.
Boy, if somebody breaks something of mine or takes it, I really get angry or sad.
Yeah, I will feel the same way. And it actually reminds me of last week's our lesson, the storybook Best Friends, that when the pot is broken, that the girl really feels angry. And I think it's a similar situation, and it relates to my own experience as well. That once my precious thing or the thing that I love is broken, or taken away, I feel really angry. And yeah,
And if things get broken that are special, even if it's accidentally, you really feel sad because something special is gone. It can't be, particularly if it's something breakable like a dish or something china or a toy that can't be repaired. You just really feel sad.
I agree. Yeah. And Sally, how can you forgive that person if that happens?
It's not easy. Sometimes, if you know it was truly an accident, even though it hurts, you're willing to forgive. But if it's done intentionally, it's a lot harder to let go of that anger.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it really depends on the one that who broke your thing, or their attitude. That if I feel like that they truly felt sorry or they apologized, I might feel better. But if they still act like that they did nothing wrong, then I got more angry with them.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay. So we'll pretend like that was the full 5 minutes. It seemed like you had a really great conversation in your pairs. Would anyone like to share what they talked about briefly with their partner?
Yeah, Sally and I agree that we share this feeling that when our things got broken or taken away, that we both feel angry and sad. And it also reminds me of the story that we talked about last week about best friend, because there is a similar situation. And we were also thinking about how to forgive that person. Sally distinguishes two situations, that one is when it is done accidentally, then it's easier for us to forgive the person. But if it's not, then it's harder. And I would say that it will depend on the person's attitude. I want to, if I see they feel sorry or not.
Yeah, that's a really great examples. And we'll see in this story that there is an instance of something being broken, and it will see what happens about how they are forgiven and what they do to help make things right again. But you raise a good point that sometimes it's harder to forgive someone if they, don't feel bad about it, or if they did it on purpose. So we'll think of some more ideas as we read our story. Thank you for sharing, Jingran. So now we will cross the imaginary bridge and begin reading our story that has a big family conflict. So as we read, be thinking about this idea of forgiveness and be paying attention for those vocabulary words as they come up in the story. All right, so now let's look at the cover of Abel and his sister's doll. What do you see here? What do you notice?
Mom's talking to Abel, and look at the doll.
Yeah, it seems that the doll lost an arm.
And
Yeah, good noticing.
I'm guessing that Abel has something to do with why that doll only has one arm and the other one's gone.
Yeah, so you notice that the mother looked like she was talking to Abel. We're guessing this is Abel, this young boy. And we also noticed that the arm was missing. And maybe he has something to do with it, but we're not sure yet. And when you look at the characters' faces and their body language, how do you think they're feeling?
They look serious. So I don't know, but maybe Abel did something wrong. It's just a random guess that at least he doesn't feel very good. He's not happy.
Yeah, they're not smiling. Their faces look pretty serious. It looks like mom is talking to Abel. She brought him in close and is having a serious discussion. Yeah, that's really good noticing based on their language, body language, and their faces. And you started to get at this, Jingran, but what do you both think will happen in this story? You've never read it, so you're not sure, but based on what you see in the cover and the things that we noticed about how they're feeling, what do you think will happen?
I'm guessing that the reason the doll has one missing arm has something to do with Abel, because mom's really looking serious.
Yeah, maybe Abel has something to do with the arm being missing. Any other guesses?
And maybe, I don't know, maybe Abel didn't feel sorry at first, so his mother intervenes and talks to him about, like, yeah, maybe his sister feels really bad, so his mother came and talked to Abel about this.
yeah, then maybe, so Abel had something to do with it, but then also you're thinking that maybe he didn't feel sorry, so his mom had to have a really serious conversation about how that made his sister feel. Because we know in the title, his sister's doll, we know this is his sister's doll. Those are really good guesses, and I think you did a good job reading the cover and the clues that you see here to try to guess what would happen. So let's read our story and find out. Abel and his sister's doll. There was a boy whose name was Abel. He made himself a cart. Abel had no driver for his new cart. He said to his sister Mary, "I want a driver for my cart. Please give me your doll. She can sit in the cart." But Mary said, "No, I want my doll." When Mary would not let him take the doll, Abel was very angry. He grabbed the doll and pulled her. Mary pulled the doll's other arm. Abel pulled and Mary pulled. The doll's arm came off. Mary cried and ran to her mother. "Look, mother," she said. "Abel pulled my doll's arm and it came off. He wanted my doll to sit in his new cart, but I wanted to play with her." Her mother said, "Abel did not behave well." Okay, let's pause here. Why did Abel want his sister's doll?
To put her in the cart. To play
Yeah.
with. Drive the cart.
Yeah, he needed a driver for his cart that he made. And what happened when Mary did not want to give Abel her doll?
He grabbed it. He tried to force Mary to give him the doll.
Yeah, and then what happened when she wouldn't give it to him?
Oh, yeah, they pulled the arm of the doll, try to like grab it here into the
Yeah.
car.
Yeah, they were kind of pulling it back and forth and then it ripped off. So what do you think will happen next?
I'd say Abel's going to get a talking to by his mother, because she said right there, Abel did not behave well.
Yeah, maybe he's going to get a talking to. And we're remembering the cover page too, when Abel's mother was talking to him in a serious manner. So let's see what happens next. Mother thought about how to teach her son not to touch his sister's toys. She had an idea. She went to her friend who was a doctor and she asked, "I want you to help me, please." The doctor replied, "How can I help, my friend?" Mother answered, "My son Abel is behaving badly these days. He pulled the arm of his sister's doll. He must not do that. Tomorrow, I will tell him to bring the doll to you to put the doll's arm on again. Please tell Abel that he must pay you for your work. He doesn't have any money, so you will tell him to clean your big old car that is always dusty," said Mother. Her friend laughed and said, "Hee, that will be good." All right, let's pause again here. Who does Mother go to visit?
Her friend, a doctor.
Yeah, her friend, the doctor. Remember, doctor is one of our vocabulary words. And who can tell me what is Mother's idea? She has this big master plan.
Well, the doctor can probably stitch the doll's arm back on, but Abel has to pay for it. You always end up having to pay for a doctor's visit.
Yeah. And how will Abel pay the doctor back? What does the mother ask her?
That able to clean the doctor's big old car.
Yeah, that's always dusty. So it seems like it's going to be a big project. And I want you to think, how would Abel feel about this plan? How do you think he will react to this plan?
I don't think he's going to like it, but he knows he's made a mistake and he has to do something about the mistake.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's keep reading and find out how he responds. Abel's mother went back to her house. She asked Abel, "When you are ill or hurt, where do you go?" Abel answered, "When I am ill or hurt, I must go to the doctor." Abel's mother said, "Well, you hurt the doll. Now you must take her to the doctor." So Abel took the doll to the doctor. "This doll is hurt very badly. My mother told me to bring the doll to you. Doctor, can you give her a new arm?" The doctor agreed to look after the doll. She was able to make a new arm. The doctor said to Abel, "Well, the doll has a new arm, but you must pay me. How much money do you have?" Abel answered, "Please, doctor, I don't have any money. I can't pay you for your work." The doctor said, "Well, you don't have any money? My car is very dirty. You can clean my car, and that is how you will pay me." So Abel got a bucket of water and a clean cloth. It took a long time to wash that dirty car. All right, so how do you think Abel feels when you look at his face in this picture?
He's surprised. Maybe he didn't expect that this car is so dirty.
Yeah, he's thinking, boy, do I have a big job ahead of me.
Yeah, you can kind of tell his eyebrows are a little lifted and his eyes are a little big. And he's looking at this car like, "Ooh." Yeah, it's definitely going to be a big job. So did mother's idea work? Did her plan go through?
I think mom was pretty clever coming up with that idea.
Yep. He took the doll to the doctor. The doctor fixed her arm and then told Abel that he had to pay her back by washing her car. And how do you think Mary will feel when Abel brings back her fixed doll? So he has not given it back to her yet. So I want you to think about how she might feel when he brings it back with two arms.
I think she will be amazed that she didn't expect that. Oh, I can got my doll back and it's complete. Like it's like what, although there are some like traces that it's broken before, but it's still it has two arms back.
Yeah, she'll be surprised and amazed that it was able to be fixed. All right, let's finish our story and see what happens. Then Abel took the doll back to Mary. She was delighted, and she said to Abel, "You are a good brother. Thank you for fixing my doll." "My sister, I'm sorry for getting angry and making you sad," said Abel. From that day, Abel never took his sister's things again, and he tried his best not to get angry with her. Abel remembered how long it took him to wash the doctor's big, dirty car. He decided it wasn't worth the price to get angry and break things. The end. So, did Mary forgive her brother?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they had a nice big hug and she said, thank you. And he apologized. So how do you think Mary and Abel feel now?
I think they feel more close to each other after all this, and both of them might learn some things, not just Abel. I think Mary might feels like maybe next time she will be more willing to share as well. That, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And you can tell, what do you notice here now?
Oh, right. Yeah, she's putting the doll in the car. Yeah.
Yes, the doll's in the cart now. So it's like what you said. So now I think she's more willing to share with Abel and play together. So she put the doll in the cart, which is what Abel wanted in the beginning. He wanted someone to drive his cart. So now they're able to play together. Yes, Ed?
Maybe they both learned something, that step back, count to 10, and see if you can't talk it out first.
Yeah, before things get bad and things get broken, maybe they can talk to each other and take a deep breath, relax, and try to solve the situation without anything bad happening, like the doll's arm coming off. Yeah, so they definitely learned something new, I think. All right, so that's the end of the story. And so before we read the story, we thought that Abel had something to do with the doll's arm coming off. So we were pretty close just by looking at the cover about what was going to happen. So let's review. What was the problem in the beginning?
Abel wanted to borrow the doll to put in his new cart to drive his cart. But Mary wanted to play with the doll. She didn't want her in the cart.
Mhm. And what happened?
They each pulled on the doll, and then the arm came off.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so the problem was they both wanted to play with the doll, but when they were fighting over it because they couldn't share, the doll's arm ripped off. And so what was the mother's idea for Abel to help solve this problem and fix the doll's arm?
She did not talk to Abel directly, but rather he asked for help from her friend, a doctor, to ask a favor from her that Abel came to her to so the doctor can fix the doll, but Abel need to pay something back, like to wash the car for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. That was the mother's idea for him to fix the doll's arm. And what was the turning point for Abel to never take his sister's things again?
Sometimes actions done in anger have consequences, like washing the car, that aren't very much fun.
Yeah, I think it was that big consequence of having to wash that car that made him realize, well, if you break people's things, then there's going to be some sort of consequence that won't be fun. And so maybe it's not worth breaking things in the first place or trying to solve the problem before things get bad. Yeah. And what else could Abel have done to make his sister feel better? So he got his arm fixed and he apologized. But is there anything else maybe that he could have done to help her feel better?
Maybe he can borrow his toy. Maybe he has a doll too, or maybe he can they can play the card together. I don't know if Mary would like to.
Yeah, he could have given her something of his. Maybe that would help her feel better. Or they could have played together. He could have offered another solution if she didn't want the doll to be the driver, well, then maybe they could create a new game to play together with the doll. So what did you learn from this story?
Actions have consequences.
And sharing is important.
Yeah, those are big, big themes in this story. Now we will think about some wondering questions. So remember, when we wonder about a story, we share our feelings or ideas. So that means that there are no right or wrong answers, and everyone should feel comfortable to share their stories and their experiences. So I wonder if there's a part of the story you liked, and I wonder why you liked that page.
I'm torn. I don't know which I like best. Mom coming up with the idea of going to the doctor and asking the doctor to get able to pay for the repair, or the picture of him standing there looking at that car like, oh my goodness, what have I done? What do I have to do?
Yeah, so Sally likes two parts, the part where the mother comes up with the smart, clever idea for Abel, and also the part where Abel is looking at this big car and this big project he has to do.
Yeah, I especially like the part where the mother came up with a solution that is not to talk to his son directly to give instructions or to blame him, but rather to use a more effective way by asking somebody else and to ask his son to do something to make him realize himself that he has to pay something, but not just talking to him directly. But in our lives, usually our teachers or parents chose the other way, that they give instructions directly, that they just blame the children, but this might not be so effective for them to really realize what's wrong.
Yeah, so Jingran really liked the part when the mom had a different strategy and she decided to ask somebody else for help to solve the problem rather than maybe talking to him directly. And the next question is, I wonder if there was a time when someone wouldn't share with you, or when you didn't want to share with someone else. I wonder how you solved the conflict. So take a minute to think.
It's been a long time since I was a little kid, but I remember going to my best friend's house and wanting to play a certain game. And there was another girl there who lived on the same street, but she was really bossy. And she did not want to play the game that Peggy and I were kind of heading toward. So I got mad and went home. And I was sad to do that, but I just wasn't going to stay and put up with it. And I didn't have the understanding of trying to negotiate a different situation. I don't think that was something we were taught as kids 70 years ago.
Yeah. So Sally shared that one time there was someone on her street who didn't want to share or play with her. And she decided that she would just walk away from the situation. And perhaps maybe, she mentioned she didn't have the negotiation tools at the time to have a different solution. Thanks for sharing that, Sally. And Jingran?
I remember that when I love cakes, so sometimes when I eat cakes, I don't want to share it with others. And yeah, but then one day I realized that when my friend is eating a cake and it looks super delicious and I really want to have a bite to have a taste. So at that time I realized that when I'm eating cake and my friend is sitting next to me, maybe she or he is wondering the same thing, that she wants to just to have a taste. So then afterwards I realized that yeah, I can share mine and then I can have others too. So this is a mutual sharing.
Yeah, so Jingran kind of shared about both sides of the question is, remembering when she didn't want to share her cake with others, but then when she was at other people's parties or celebrations and they had cake, she really wanted it, right? So it made her remember those times that she didn't want to share and really think that, maybe everyone else would like some of the cake too. So it'd be better to share. Great. Well, thank you very much for sharing for the wondering questions and connecting these ideas to your life. And now we will review the story and do a little sequencing activity. So we will look at these photos and put them in the correct order as they appeared in the story. So you see here we have photo A, photo B, and photo C. So what happened first? Photo A, B, or C? Who can shout out the letter?
B.
Good, photo B was first. And can someone tell me a complete sentence about what happens in photo B?
Abel and Mary are pulling on the doll's arm to try to get over to get the doll.
Yeah, nice. So first, Abel and Mary are pulling on the doll's arms to try to get the doll. Good. And what happened next?
Photo C.
Good. Photo C was next. And Sally or someone else, can you tell me a complete sentence about what happens in photo C?
Mom has a bright idea to get help to teach Abel a lesson.
Good. So next, Mom has a bright idea to get help and teach Abel a lesson. And what happened last? There's only one left. Which one does it have to be?
A.
A, good job. Photo A was last. And again, can someone tell me a complete sentence for photo A?
Abel is amazed or is surprised that he has to clean such a big dirty car.
Good, yeah. So last, Abel is surprised that he has to clean such a big dirty car, which was all a part of Mom's plan, huh?
Well, he has
Okay.
to pay
Mm-hmm.
to have the doll repaired.
Yep. Yeah, he has to pay the doctor for fixing the doll's arm. Exactly. Okay, so to review, I will say the full sentence again, and you all will repeat after me. So if you're ready, we'll start. First, Abel breaks the arm of his sister's doll.
Abel breaks the arm of his sister's doll.
Good. Next, Abel's mother talks to the doctor about her idea.
Abel's mother talks to the doctor about her idea.
Good. And last, Abel has to clean the doctor's car.
Abel has to clean the doctor's car.
Good. So that was the correct order of photo A. Photo B is first, and then C, and then A. So that's the end of our lesson plan. Thank you, Sally and Jing Ran, for your help. And please be sure to go watch our skills development video that details the technical aspect of the lesson plan and some strategies for working with students that have varying English abilities. Thanks for listening.